Everybody's talking about this Last Dance. I know you guys have been watching the documentary. It's been incredible. They had 3 and 4, 5 and 6 is coming up this Sunday. Big news from last week. Everybody's still talking about Isiah Thomas still hurt for being snubbed for the Dream Team back in 1992. Still wonders if Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, those guys had something to do with it because he didn't shake their hand after they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals that year. So when you look at that, does Zeke have a case? Do you feel for him in that manner? Because he definitely deserved to be on that Dream Team that year in 1992, sure.
Dang, why do I have to answer first?
Oh, okay. Well,
I'll go first.
Go, Nick. Go, Nick.
The legend can go first.
I was trying to talk to the three. I was trying to talk to the 3-time gold medalist of somebody that's been on the Olympics.
Hey, Cheryl, we gotta take your lead.
I want to hear what Nick has to say.
I mean,
I want to hear what Nick has to say first.
Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I say this much. I think it's deeper than a handshake. You got to remember, too, I think Isiah should be in politics for all the BS he likes to shovel. Because to me, it's ridiculous for him to still be salty after all of these years. Now, understandable, you know about the handshake, but it's deeper than a handshake because we all know that Isiah Thomas, even though he may have deserved to be on the Dream Team, he made too many enemies. He went against Bird, he fell out with Jordan, he fell out with Scottie Pippen, and he fell out with Magic Johnson after that. So that's 4 people that you had on that Dream Team. Oh, and by the way, do I need to remind people that Chuck Daly was the coach? Wasn't Chuck Daly the coach of the Detroit Pistons when Isiah Thomas was there? How come Chuck Daly never said nothing? Because we all know Isiah was full of BS and he made too many enemies. So, hey, man. That's how the ball bounces.
Hey, let's get deeper. Why was he so much full of BS? Because, I want to hear this, man, because, we got a real talk show. Why was he so much full of BS, man?
Because I think he tried to be too perfect. I think he tried to be too acceptable. And sometimes when people, even though you may be telling the truth, if you don't have if you too clean, people in the back of their minds think, oh, man, something's up with this dude. If you don't have at least a speck or two of dirt on you where the people can feel like they can relate to you, and I think Zeke was trying to be too perfect. I think he should have just been himself. I mean, to me, he's the most talented, gifted, guard next to Magic Johnson that we probably ever seen in our lifetime. But at the same time, when you start making enemies with the wrong people, that's the problem. And he doesn't want to accept his responsibility in the matter as far as him making enemies with the wrong people as well. So he never wants to talk about that. That's why I said he's a true politician. He needs to go into politics and start and get off ESPN and go in the primaries next year.
Okay, Cheryl, do you want to follow? There you go. You want to go?
I am not going to follow that.
You said you wanted to follow it.
So
politics being involved.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say, and I'm gonna be politically correct or try to be.
We keep it real on this show, Cheryl.
I totally agree with Nick when he said it's deeper than a handshake, right? Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. He will always be Michael Jordan. He always was Michael Jordan. But even Michael Jordan doesn't hold that much power to say, no, we don't want him on this team. Now, could Mike have gone and said, he deserves to be on this team, he should be on this team, we need him on this team? He could have, but he probably didn't feel that way. And so because I've been there where I thought I was good enough and should have made Olympic teams, USA teams, and I didn't. And I always tried to look at other people, right? And say, well, it's her fault that I didn't, or it's his fault that I didn't, instead of honestly looking at myself saying, but Cheryl, what was it that you did or didn't do that kept you from making that team? And so at some point, I agree. I think Isiah has to look at himself and say, what role did I play in that? What enemies did I make along the way? Because it is a game. There's politics involved there. It's a game, and you got to be ready to play the game.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. Now, think back to that era. We talked about this off air, Cheryl. Remember, this is somebody's phone is on. This is the same era as it is now. Back in the day, you didn't really have a lot of friendly people loving each other. I know Isiah and Magic were pretty cool, but Isiah, Bird didn't shake Isiah's hands after Detroit Pistons beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals that year. So Isiah didn't have to shake Jordan's hand after they beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals at all. So I think there was a lot of politics that were involved in it as well. But at the same time, I agree with you when it comes to this. Maybe Jordan didn't say anything, but he didn't say anything to step up for Isiah and ask him to be on the team. Rod Thorne, who was in charge of USA Basketball, basically came out and said that nobody said anything against Isiah being on the basketball team. But the fact that these superstars did not say anything about him being on it, I think it was a bigger travesty. But the biggest travesty of it all from the 92 Dream Team was that Christian Laettner was on that team and not Shaquille O'Neal. Nobody talks about that.
Exactly, because how the hell do you get Christian Laettner?
Politics.
And
That's
politics,
the politics.
and politics is garbage when it comes to that, because how the hell do you get Christian Laettner, who made one magical shot when you had the most dominant college basketball player coming into the NBA? Everybody's anticipating Shaq for a whole year, and you don't get Shaquille O'Neal till 96, but you don't get him on that original Dream Team? Come on, man, that is a travesty if I've ever seen one. I mean, if I'm Shaq, I see why Shaq is still kind of salty about that. I would be too.
He should be.
Against Christian Laettner, come on, man. Christian Laettner was trash.
Absolutely.
He should be.
Absolutely.
How are you, John?
But you also, but you also have to look at, besides that fact, everybody knew that Shaq should have been on that team, right? But you also have to look at, you got to have one white person on the team.
Do you?
Bird didn't count?
Yeah, Bird. They had Bird and Chris Mullin. They had Bird and Chris Mullin. And John Stockton.
Back up a little bit. A younger upcoming.
They wanted a college player. They wanted one because it was, they said they wanted to validate, because what happened was they were sending the college players to the Olympics. For the people that are too young to remember, they were sending the college players, and then they started losing the Olympics. So they figured we need to put our best players possible, meaning our NBA players, to represent the USA. And that's how the Dream Team came about. But they still wanted to have one slot for a college player. But still, Shaq was coming out of college the same year as Christian Laettner, and Shaq should have been on that basketball team.
But Mike, how come Isiah didn't go at Rod Thorne? Because that spot that Christian Laettner took up should have went to Isiah.
But I think this is what Isiah is saying. Isiah is saying if he wasn't on that team because of that handshake, see, everybody's still speculating that the fact he wasn't on that team was because he did not shake hands. He says he's even more hurt today. So like you said, there could be so much more to the story that we just don't know. But he should have been on that basketball team because he was one of the best.
And it probably is.